It's still real to me, damn it!
Huh. Snape actually killed Dumbledore. Oh, hello. I'm the historian, Brian King, and this is Great Moments in Wrestling History. The year is 1987. It's a normal day in the then World Wrestling Federation. Vince McMahon is walking backstage chatting with his fellow wrestlers when all of a sudden he sees a wrestler and is completely taken aback. He rushes to the phone and calls his wife Linda. Linda answers and said, "What's going on, Vince?" He said, "You won't believe it. Elvis is actually alive. Not only that, he is hiding in plain sight as a wrestler." Linda's obviously confused and asks him what he's talking about. He says, "I have no time to explain," and hangs up the phone. He rushes to his newfound Elvis and introduces himself. Elvis is obviously confused and looks at him and says, "Vince, I've been with you for a year. My name is Wayne Ferris. I wrestle as the Honky Tonk Man." Vince gives him a nod and wink and says, "Sure thing, Elvis." Vince tells him that he's going to make him champ, but he can't make him world champ because Hulk Hogan is world champ. But he's going to make him the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Honky Tonk Man at first just kind of, blows off, but then he realizes Vince is serious. And Vince comes through. Vince is true to his word, and Honky Tonk Man defeats Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship. Honky Tonk Man decides to lean into this and starts giving Vince private Elvis concerts in his office and introduces him to his wife, Priscilla Presley, a.k.a. Sherry Martel. Honky Tonk Man goes on to hold the Intercontinental title for a record 454 days, until one night when Vince McMahon is watching an episode of Dallas and realizes that the Priscilla Presley on television does not look like the Priscilla Presley he was introduced to. Suddenly it clicks for Vince, and he is furious. He approaches Honky Tonk Man and tells him that he will be severely punished for his lies. Honky Tonk Man goes on to lose the Intercontinental title to the Ultimate Warrior in just 31 seconds. But that's only because Vince McMahon thought the Ultimate Warrior was Mel Gibson, a.k.a. the Road Warrior. I'm the historian Brian King, and this is Great Moments in Wrestling History.
Hey, this is Jerry the Giraffe. How can you tell that wrestling is tougher than rodeo? When you win at rodeo, you get a buckle. But when you win at wrestling, they give you the whole belt. My son walked in on me and my wife wrestling on the bed. We called it wrestling because he can't pronounce jujitsu. All right, ladies and gents, you've been great. Make sure to tip your waiters and waitresses. I'll be here all week. All right.
Did the trajectory drive Martyr to his feet? As now...
It seemed like it only served to fire him up more. Me, I'd be lying
Whoa!
No! Ah! Robert Martyr's neck drilled directly into that post.
If he knew what he was doing, wouldn't be doing a shoe show in Vegas, because he sucks.
Best parts!
Olympic wrestling is the only time there is a clean and jerk. In every other case, it's the other way around. That's classic.
Smell it, warriors. I am not the chosen one, for I am the chosen one.
So, with the current popularity surge in wrestling, there's been a lot of debate about who the current best wrestlers are, the Mount Rushmore, if you will, and with that, today we're going to examine the current Mount Rushmore of wrestling. So there's been a lot of debate about who the best wrestlers are right now. A lot of people say MJF, others say LA Knight. So we're going to start with LA Knight. Johnny X, what's your opinion on LA Knight?
The mega star. All you got to say is L.A. Knight. Yeah.
We'll go over to Todd, the Super Fro Black. Todd?
Oh, why is LA Knight the best gimmick in wrestling? Because we all know who runs the show. Yeah.
Great opinion as always, Todd. Over to you, Slim Reaper.
I mean, LA Knight, what can you say that hasn't already been said? He's an absolute megastar. Strap that boy up. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's some compliments on LA Knight. With that, we will toss it over to MJF Maxwell Jacob Friedman. A lot of people say he may be going to WWE soon. JX, your take.
Kangaroo kick. He is a generational talent. I wish I was good at something at 25 as that man is.
Superfro Todd Black.
Why is MJF the best gimmick in wrestling? Because he's better than you, baby!
Slim Reaper, your opinion.
It's crazy how a guy can go from so hateable to so beloved without really changing that much of his character, but, you know, I'm all here for it.
Well, everyone seems to have a great opinion on MJF, so we'll see what happens with him. On to the son of Rey Mysterio Jr., Dominic Mysterio. JX, what do you see?
An absolute heat magnet. I cannot believe how incredibly popular it is to boo this man. It's amazing to watch.
Todd the Bottle-Odd Rada Black, your take.
Dominic Mysterio is the best gimmick in wrestling? Why would I talk about him when I could talk about Rhea Ripley? Exactly.
Resident historian Brian King is here with his opinion.
Dominic is a classic heel. You can tell he learned well from his father, Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, Jerry the Giraffe is here with an opinion. Jerry?
Dominic Mysterio is like a teenager's 98 Honda Civic. Why? Because neither have had their oil changed in 6,000 miles. Greasy.
Well, that's certainly one way to look at it, I would say. Next up, we have the women's division with Toni Storm, the blonde bombshell, the tortured actress, the damsel in distress. X?
They found gold with this gimmick. Let me tell you, I will leave it to how she put it herself. Chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe.
Todd Black, your take on her.
She is a star and she deserves the world. How can you not understand that? Oh my.
Over to our resident historian, Brian King.
I'm a huge fan of her Golden Era throwback gimmick, and I'd be willing to bet that I'm not the only fan.
Jerry the Giraffe has an opinion on Tony Storm, X. Let's have a listen.
What do Tony Storm and a donkey farm have in common? They both got a whole lot of ass. All right.
Well, there you have it. That's the current Mount Rushmore of wrestling from our resident experts here.
Yeah. I hate you.
Hey guys, Mike Tawney, Fat Tawn here from IWA East Coast, and you're watching Use Your Weight.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. It's the Use Your Weight Wrasslin podcast, and I'm excited to say that we've got some fan mail.
Fan mail? This is the first show.
This letter comes from little Billy McAllister in Topeka, Kansas, addressed to our wrestling show here on YouTube. Let me read it for you.
It's a literal letter. It's not. It's paper. It's not.
Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be?
It's the first show.
It says, and I quote, "Dear fantastic Jeremy S. Guess what? I just had the most amazing idea ever. What if instead of your dumb wrestling show, you do a show about cheese-loving dinosaurs? Imagine big cheese-loving dinos with cheese hats and cheese pizza parties. They could stomp around and say, Cheezosaurus Rex instead of roar. Also, do you think the dinos would like Swiss cheese with holes in it, or would they like the gooey, creamy, melty kind? I can't decide. Please write me back, and maybe we can make it happen on your show. Cheese and dinosaurs together would be epic. P.S. I'm your new pen pal. Keep cheesin' and roaring, Billy McAllister." X, your response.
He swore he was going to read the rundown. He told me he was. That's great. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, look, I've got some fan mail.
Oh, you've got again.
It's addressed to Dr. Motorcycle.
It's the first episode. How? Did you send it to yourself?
Oh, somebody sent me something for a new outfit. Look at that.
Oh,
this reminds me of a great moment in wrestling history. Imagine that.
Underwear reminds you of a great moment in wrestling history.
Of course it does. Everybody wears it on the outside in wrestling.
The year is 2009. MVP has found success in the WWE and is looking to move forward. He is a two-time United States champion and is hoping to get himself in the world title picture. However, there is one prominent man backstage who is not a fan of MVP and is holding him back. That man is Triple H. MVP is furious when he finds out about this and decides he's going to take matters into his own hands. He decides that he's going to stab Triple H in the shower with a screwdriver. He tells Mark Henry of his plan and swears Henry to secrecy. However, Henry feels guilty and decides to tell the one man backstage that everyone knows, fears, and respects, The Undertaker. The dead man obviously does not want this to happen, so he tapes his fists and waits for MVP to approach his locker room. He sees MVP approaching as MVP walks by Randy Orton putting lotion in women's bags and Christian, who is wearing a blue dot over his face. He walks by Undertaker's locker room, and just as Undertaker steps out, the dead man is frozen in fear as he sees 2 cucumbers laying outside his dressing room. MVP suspected that Taker would get word of this, and he knew of the dead man's fear of cucumbers. MVP sees Triple H in the shower and is ready to pounce, when all of a sudden, Chris Masters, who for some odd reason is wearing a sombrero, jumps out of the shadows and sees the screwdriver in MVP's hands. He sits MVP down and talks to him and calms him down. MVP relents and decides that it's not worth it. MVP and Masters walk off together, with MVP asking Masters if he ever told him the story of X-Pac taking a poo in Mark Henry's sub sandwich. And the rest, as we know, is history. I'm Brian King, and this has been Great Moments in Wrestling History.
I hear my coffee, often, or when the girls is gold, no, is the snow. This is. Snap, snap, snap. I know, no.
Now, service, Harry, never, never the fear, right?
No.
You ever read the part in Mick Foley's book about why Terry Funk's punches look so real? If you have, hell yeah. If you haven't, do that immediately. But in the meantime, this is Slim Reaper, and you're watching Use Your Weight.